All right, let's jump right in. We're not talking about some far-off future here. We're talking about the skills you need right now, and for the next few years, to really stay ahead of the curve. You know, the professional playbook? It's been completely torn up and rewritten. And today, we are breaking down the new rules.
For our parents' generation, and maybe even for us, a white-collar job was the definition of security. But as this forecast from Workplace Intelligence points out, that's just not a guarantee anymore. The very idea of a safe career is being completely challenged by things like AI and this massive global skills gap.
And that really gets to the heart of it, right? This is the central question, not just for this explainer, but for your entire career. In a world that's changing this fast, what abilities are actually going to make you valuable? What's going to separate the people who get ahead from the ones who get left behind?
To really get a handle on the new rules, we first have to understand why the old ones just don't work anymore. So let's dig into some numbers that show just how much the ground is shifting right under our feet.
Okay, so here's the first number that really made me sit up. A McKinsey report found that 87% of companies either already have a skills gap or they expect one really soon. That's almost 9 out of every 10 companies struggling to find people with the right skills. This isn't just a tiny crack in the system, it's a huge structural problem.
And it's not just about what companies need. The World Economic Forum projects that 44% of a worker's core skills are going to be disrupted in the next few years. Think about that. That means nearly half of what you rely on to do your job today could be outdated pretty much before you know it. This is a personal challenge for every single one of us.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. This data shows a massive gap between how prepared new graduates think they are and what employers are actually seeing. Just look at critical thinking. Over 80% of grads feel they're proficient, but barely half of employers agree. And leadership? Wow, the gap is even wider. It's a huge disconnect between how we see ourselves and what the market actually values.
So what's the main driver behind all this change? Well, it's the one force that's reshaping just about every industry you can think of: artificial intelligence.
We have to stop thinking about AI as just, another app or a software update. It's way bigger than that. It's a fundamental economic force, kind of like the Industrial Revolution or the rise of the internet. It is actively redefining the value of human work itself.
And look, this isn't some distant sci-fi future we're talking about. The impact is very real, and it's happening right now. A McKinsey analysis found that 12 million workers in the US alone might need to completely change jobs by 2030. And the biggest hits? They're coming to those administrative and office support roles that used to be so stable.
So here's the bottom line. The game has totally changed. Your value isn't based on the facts you've memorized anymore. It's now all about the uniquely human things you can bring to the table. The stuff that AI, for all its incredible power, just can't do.
Okay, so if the old playbook is busted and AI is rewriting all the rules, what do you actually need to do to succeed? Let's build your 2026 survival kit, starting with the skills that matter most.
When you look across all the research on what employers are desperate for, these 5 core skills just keep popping up again and again. Problem solving, data and AI literacy, solid communication, what we call business thinking, and of course, adaptability. Let's break each one down.
This first one, problem solving, is perfectly illustrated here. A weak professional spots a symptom. Hey, sales are down. A strong professional, on the other hand, thinks in a structured way. They start asking the right questions to find the root cause. Are we losing customers? Are our prices off? Is our marketing not working? Companies don't pay you to just spot problems, they pay you to solve them.
Next up is data literacy, but it's evolved. We're now talking about what researchers are calling workplace data literacy. This isn't just about being able to read a chart. It's the ability to analyze data, to communicate what it means, and, this is the key part, to combine it with what AI is telling you to make smarter business decisions.
This chart right here shows us exactly where employers are feeling the most pain. The biggest gap between what they need and what they're actually getting is in resilience and flexibility. In a world that's always changing, being able to adapt isn't just a bonus, it's a core requirement. And right behind that, problem solving and communication, the very skills we're talking about.
And that brings us to the skills that are the most uniquely human, and because of that, the most durable. Things like ethical judgment, emotional intelligence, building real relationships with people, and navigating conflict. These are the abilities that are becoming the absolute foundation of a successful career. All right, so we've identified the what, but knowing which skills are valuable is kind of useless if you don't know how to actually build them and show you have them. So let's shift gears from knowing to doing.
First things first, you've got to know your goal. Are you upskilling or are you reskilling? Upskilling means getting better at what you already do. Think of a marketer learning about AI-powered marketing tools. Reskilling, on the other hand, is about learning a whole new set of skills for a career change, like an accountant learning to become a data analyst. You got to pick your path.
Okay, now for the strategy. First, forget what you think is important. Go read job descriptions in the field you want to be in. What are companies actually asking for? Second, and this is so important, prioritize application over consumption. Building one project that uses a new skill is worth way more than a dozen online certificates. Then, stack your skills. A marketing person who also understands data is incredibly valuable. And finally, be consistent. A sustainable plan of 3 to 5 hours a week that you actually stick to will always beat some crazy 20-hour plan you quit after a week. And you know, this isn't just about feeling secure in your job. There is a real financial payoff here. The data shows that professionals who go out and get these in-demand skills and certifications see a salary bump of 8 to 15% compared to their peers. And in some fields, that number is even higher.
This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? In the end, the market doesn't reward you for what you know. It rewards you for what you can do with what you know. It's all about effective application. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. The value of any single professional skill is dropping faster than ever. What was cutting edge 5 years ago is just standard today. So knowing that, the most important question you can ask yourself is, what's your plan to stay relevant?